What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Queen as we continue through the 1975 album A Night at the Opera. Once again, big thank you to Michaela. And the next track is 39, which is not only functionally a single word title, but it is in fact a number, and thus even more opaque at first glance. If I had to guess, I'd say maybe this relates to a year or an age, so whether somebody, the narrator or someone externally, is on the cusp of 40, which of course has all sorts of connotations and thoughts about life trajectory, or whether we are referring to 1939, which again, as a historian, I can tell you, and depending on where and in what context you're talking, there's a lot going on in the interwar period. But yes, whether it's one of those two things, I obviously will have to try to follow in the moment, but those would be my best guesses, and of course it might have nothing to do with that, and it might not be a year or an age. Nevertheless, let's hear it, and I'll see what I can pick up. This is Queen, the song is 39, and it's from their 1975 album, A Night at the Opera.
Volunteers in the days when lands were few. Hear the ships sail out to the blue and sunny morn, sweetest sight ever seen. And the night followed day, and the storytellers say that the score brave souls inside, for many a lonely day, sailed across the milky seas. Never look back, never fear, never cry. Don't you hear my call? Though you're many years away, don't you hear me calling you? Write your letters in the sand for the day I take your hand in the land that our grandchildren knew. Shipping from the blue, the volunteers came home that day, and they bring good news of a world so newly born, though their hearts so heavily weigh. For the earth is old and gray, little darling will away, but my love this cannot be. Oh, so many years are gone, though I'm older but a year. Mother's eyes, from your eyes, cry to me. Don't you hear my call, though you're many years away? Don't you hear me calling you? Write your letters in the sand for the day I take your hand in the land that our grandchildren knew. Don't you hear my call, though you're many years away? Don't you hear me? All your letters in the sand cannot heal me like your hand. For my life still ahead, pity me.
Fantastic. That last part was sort of intuitive. So, okay, number one, the first thing that stands out to me, and again, as someone who has a very limited knowledge indeed, minimal knowledge of Queen's catalog, which is basically, 2 or 3 tracks plus the now, 3 or 4 that we've heard from this album. But this is more folksy than anything I have heard from them, or, again, based on those 2 or 3 songs that I've known going back. So, they're real, big hits, or at least, the songs of theirs which have most prominently entered the popular culture, which, Bohemian Rhapsody, another one, Bites the Dust, We Are the Champions, and so on. I would not expect anything from them to be this folksy. I mean, again, it's got this rural kind of acoustic guitar. I think there's a flute or some sort of fife in there. And then even the singing has this sort of, folk country vibe to it. In that regard, I do wonder, is this another one where Freddie's not on lead? Because, I thought he did the lead vocals on all their songs. But again, that's just my own ignorance. And so now that we've already heard a track where, he wasn't on lead vocal, I was thinking during this one, I don't think that's Freddie. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe it is. But yeah, the lead vocal, it didn't sound like Mr. Mercury. Though in the chorus, we definitely get, again, these folksy harmonies. And then in the middle of the track, we have another one of those, choral, multi-voice flourishes that, again, I remember Michaela mentioning that is a feature of a number of their songs where they have these chorus or choral style vocals with multiple voices in harmony and, sort of overlapping each other and so on. So I wasn't surprised to hear that. But apart from that, a lot of what I heard here was, in a way, surprising and very engaging. And yeah, I don't actually know what's happening. I mean, right away he says, in the year of 39, it's okay, so at least in a general sense, one of my thoughts in advance was sort of running in the right direction. But then he's talking the men who I think are going out to sea, and then eventually he talks about them coming back, and then his life still seems to be ahead of him, and I don't necessarily think they're talking about the wars. And in fact, I think he was talking about his grandchildren that will follow. So there seems to be a multi-generational theme happening. But I didn't catch enough of the lyrics clearly to get a sense of, if we're actually talking about historical events, or even if we are, it seems like this is a personal narrative that's, part of the tapestry, which again, as a historian, I can tell you that, there's a lot of research that deals with big, overarching processes and, military conflicts, political developments, and so on. But some of the best history, it explores that, but zooms in to see the daily lives. And again, it depends on what documents and historical evidence remains for us to analyze. But yes, some of the best histories, they zoom in and they see the personal human stories and the little interactions that, when taken en masse, characterize those larger overarching social and cultural processes. So maybe that's kind of what's happening here, where it's on multiple scales, the personal and the grand. But at the very least, we have images of the sea and, ships going out, maybe coming back, and definitely, as I said, a feel of a real folksy, human quality to it. It feels a bit less, big, important things, and a bit more daily life, even if it is both of them. So, yeah, either way, a cool tune, and definitely one that expands my understanding of what their sonic palette might be, on a larger view. So, yeah, looking forward to the rest of this album and all the Queen chapters in this larger story to come. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.